yesterday that Iran had four options to stop the ongoing unrest, and one of them was violence, a brutal, merciless crackdown. Looks like the regime has chosen this option. As we speak, internet is still banned in Iran, but some videos have started to trickle in, and I must say, they are disturbing. They reveal the scale and brutality of what's happening in Iran. Let's start with numbers. One Iranian official says 2,000 protesters have been killed so far. One Iranian media house says 12,000 have been killed. Let me repeat that. 12,000 protesters killed. Both these numbers suggest a bloodbath. I'll put this number in context for you. The Ukraine war killed 2,500 civilians in 2025. That's an actual war spread over 365 days. In Iran, more civilians were killed in 15 days. And most of the brutality was reportedly unleashed on two nights, the nights of January 8th and 9th. If true, then this could be one of the deadliest episodes in Iranian history, a case of mass slaughter and murder. Tonight we bring you the evidence of this evil, and we'll start with a hospital in Kahrizak. This is a city located in just south of Tehran. Videos show a medical center lined with dead bodies. Take a look at this. Dozens of bodies strewn around, desperate families searching for their kin. Such videos have emerged from across Iran. The problem is we cannot verify the dates. Maybe these videos are from the weekend, maybe they're from last Friday, maybe they're from yesterday.
Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to you, Aki. I'm pushing this word in sincerity and truth. This is your brother. I sat back at you with another lesson. Willing to define. Yeah, and this here is just gonna be prophecy. Right? This has been the most amount of uproars for the past 5 years across the four corners of the earth, because the Lord is actually turning it up. In every country there's some sort of conflict, confusion, plenty being deleted, the spirit of war, being turned up, right? And it started off with with Israel, attack on Iran and whatnot, and the sanctions that started, I'll use the word, depleting the economy, whereby it led the people to protest and lash out, and this is the results, and it's gonna only escalate. From Gemini here, I just went into a little searching up of what all of these things that actually was happening and taking place across there, right? I went into what caused this,
The direct war between Israel and Iran, which took place over 12 days in June 2025, was the culmination of decades of shadow war and proxy conflicts that finally broke out into a direct military confrontation. The war began on June 13, 2025, when Israel launched a massive surprise air campaign titled Operation Rising Lion. 1. The immediate trigger, the nuclear red line. The primary reason cited by Israel for the attack was Iran's proximity to a nuclear weapon. The IAEA report. On June 12, 2025, the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, released a report stating that Iran had enriched enough uranium to produce 9 nuclear warheads. Failed diplomacy. Negotiations to revive a nuclear deal had completely stalled. Israel argued that Iran was using the diplomatic vacuum to reach, quote, breakout capacity, which Israel considers an existential threat. 2. The strategic context, degrading proxies. Israel argued that Iran was using the diplomatic vacuum to reach, quote, breakout capacity, which Israel considers an existential threat. 2. The strategic context, degrading proxies. Before the direct war, Israel had been engaged in nearly 2 years of intense conflict with Iran-backed groups, Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon, weakened deterrence. By mid-2025, Israel had significantly degraded Hezbollah's leadership and military infrastructure. With Iran's shield in Lebanon weakened, Israeli leadership saw a rare window of opportunity to strike the head of the snake, Tehran, directly with reduced risk of a devastating counterattack from the north. 3. Key events of the 12-day war. The first strike, June 13th. Israel bombed over a dozen locations across Iran, targeting nuclear enrichment plants at Natanz and Fordo, missile bases, and air defense systems. The strike also assassinated high-ranking IRGC officials and nuclear scientists. Iranian retaliation. Iran responded by launching over 300 ballistic missiles and drones directly at Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv and Haifa. While most were intercepted, some caused damage to residential areas and a medical center. U.S. involvement. June 22nd. Toward the end of the conflict, the United States joined the military action, using bunker-buster bombs to strike fortified Iranian nuclear sites that Israel's Air Force could not reach. The ceasefire, June 24th. A ceasefire was brokered by the Trump administration and went into effect on June 24, 2025. Summary of causes. Cause? Description: nuclear ambitions. Reports that Iran was days away from weaponizing its uranium stockpile. Proxy collapse. The weakening of Hezbollah.
Yeah, because you see, it was actually recorded many times that Iran, pledged war. Netanyahu said that Israel, the Israeli, Netanyahu, he pronounced war against Iran many times on based on in the action of making nuclear weapons, right? Yeah, until it reached this summary where they sent missiles killing, deleting some nuclear scientists, some high-ranking officials and whatnot, right? Yeah, and Babylon, which is a side with Israel, right? What took place is that he also joined the battle and bombed Iran and called for a ceasefire, right? But hey, we know it's all through the spirit is they actually targeting Iran for all to reach to this position, because it's all they created that chaos, and now they're gonna come as though they're gonna fix it, right? They created that chaos, right? And now they're gonna step in to get rid of the leaders of Iran, and be the heroes. Same thing how they took down Venezuela's president, because these areas are the two key areas that they want to target to gain back that full dominance, to heal the whole, and we've seen it through the spirit. Cause let's come here, right? Because we could also interject a couple of precepts, right? Habakkuk 2:5, also because he transgressed by wine. His philosophies, and a part of his philosophy is the democracy. He is a proud man, neither keep it at home. So he wanna be involved in everyone's affairs, but not his. Who enlargeth his desires hell, because they're looking upon the Iran's oil, and is as debt, and cannot be satisfied, but gather it unto him and all nations, and heap it unto him all people. So you wanna be in everything, right? You wanna be in everything and everywhere. Shall not these take up a parable against him, and taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his? That's why he's saying now that you all don't stop the protesting, when it is the citizens of Iran are being deleted, right, because of the protesting and whatnot, as I brought out the video earlier. He's saying continue to protest because he want that heavy uprising so he could come in and play the savior, right? Because look what was the cause and the effect here.
As of mid-January 2026, the United States has shifted to a maximum pressure 2.0 strategy under the Trump administration. This plan combines aggressive economic warfare with the threat of immediate military intervention to support the ongoing Iranian uprising. The U.S. strategy currently focuses on three main pillars. 1. The secondary tariff campaign. On January 12, 2026, President Trump announced a massive new economic escalation, a 25% tariff on any country that continues to do business with Iran. Targeting the shadow fleet. This is designed to kill Iran's oil exports by making it too expensive for countries like China, India, and Turkey to trade with them. The goal? To completely drain the Iranian government's remaining cash reserves, making it impossible for them to pay security forces, the IRGC and Basij, who are currently suppressing the protests. 2. Locked and loaded military options. The U.S. has moved beyond the targeted strikes of 2025 and is now considering humanitarian intervention to stop the killing of protesters. Direct intervention. Trump has stated that the U.S. is locked and loaded to rescue Iranians. Military options being discussed include bombing the bases of the security forces or using drones to stop paramilitary convoys moving toward protest centers. Nuclear red line. The U.S. has warned that if Iran uses the current chaos to restart its nuclear enrichment after the sites were damaged in June 2025, the U.S. will very quickly eradicate those programs with a second round of strikes. 3. Piercing the information blackout. Because the Iranian government has imposed a near-total internet blackout since January 8th, the U.S. is working on technical workarounds. Starlink deployment. There are reports of effort.
Yeah, because that you see the Babylon expressing herself as the hammer. Because again, all of these moves that we have been mentioning concerning Babylon is gonna lead up to what? They're going on what? They're gonna hit the whole. Right? Revelation 17:16 and the 10 ones which also is upon the peace, these shall hate the whole world. These is speaking of days that are aligned and in confederation with Babylon. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Because even they have been getting fed up of Babylon. Look for instance Denmark. Well, Denmark spoke against Babylon. You know, if they touch Greenland, right? Hey, and Trump is heavily going at Greenland because he say if China and Russia gets there, they're gonna be in a bit of problem. So he's not gonna allow that, right? Hey, it's just conflict and everything all over. According to the Ecclesiastes 3, and I will start at verses let's see here, 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. But right now the Lord is stirring up the time of war according to the prophecies. Then he's saying, Zephaniah, he determined and the Lord will execute. Zephaniah 3 and 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, said the Lord, until the day I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nation, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Because this is basically everything that we see pooling together, right? The uproars of the people, the wars and whatnot, you know, and these things, everything is gonna aid to the destruction of Babylon. right? Because we see it was through Babylon that and they pal Israel to push Iran into such state so they would get this this outcome with the people protesting and yeah, the people protesting, that is making the people protest, until it leads to they being deleted, right? And it would give them all right to go in and do what? Get rid of the regime, right? Take out the leaders of Iran and set up their puppets so they could control that oil, But hey, let's look on and see, right? Again, it's all the Lord having this determination to gather the nations, and we know according to the prophecies, Babylon trying all different measures to gain that power, and how she's doing it through the sword. Jeremiah 51 and 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Yeah. Lifted straight up to the skies. And verse 7, it said, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, had made all the earth drunk, and the nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Yeah, and the moves that the king of Babylon right now is making, it's gonna turn all these nations against her. Right? Gonna turn all these nations against her. Right? Verse 11, bright the arrows, gather the shields, the Lord had raised up the spirit of kings of the kings of Medes, for his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. And we know the Medes, it's signifying Russia, right? Because the prophecy talk about you're gonna be a guardian to the other nations, right? I have another thing to bring out from Gemini here.
Iranian citizens are currently engaged in a massive nationwide uprising that began in late December 2025 and has escalated significantly through January 2026. This movement is being described as one of the most serious challenges to the Islamic Republic's authority since the 1979 revolution. The protests are driven by a combination of immediate economic survival and long-standing political grievances. What are they protesting for? The protests initially began with pocketbook grievances, but quickly transformed into a movement for regime change. Key demands include economic relief. The immediate trigger was a currency collapse, where the Iranian rial lost over 40% of its value following a 12-day military conflict with Israel in June 2025. Citizens are protesting
So you see the cause of it, because the conflict between Israel, they having the power that they lost a lot of value for the money.
high inflation, over 42%, soaring food prices, up 72%, and severe water and energy shortages. Political freedom.
So what would this do? This would surely affect the people, giving them no choice but to protest and to go out there and protest, because they've been heavily affected by this.
Protesters are calling for an end to the Islamic Republic's theocratic rule, chanting slogans for the downfall of the supreme leader. Many are demanding a transition to a democratic system, with some factions calling for the return of Reza Pahlavi, the son of the last Shah, to lead a transitional government. Human rights. Following the Woman Life Freedom movement of 2022, there is continued resistance against mandatory hijab laws, gender segregation, and the heavy-handed presence of the morality police. End to corruption and foreign spending. There is deep-seated anger over government corruption and the prioritization of funding for regional proxy groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, while the domestic economy crumbles. What are they being killed for? The Iranian government has responded with what international observers call unlawful lethal force to suppress the dissent. People are losing their lives for defying riot labels. The government has categorized protesters as rioters and foreign agents, using this rhetoric to justify a battlefield-style response. Peaceful assembly, security forces, including the IRGC and Basij, have reportedly used live ammunition, military-grade weapons, and snipers to disperse crowds in major cities and ethnic minority regions like Kurdistan and Loristan. Seeking medical help. There are harrowing reports of security forces raiding hospitals to identify and arrest injured protesters, leading to deaths from untreated wounds. The scale of the crackdown. While official numbers are difficult to verify due to a near-total internet blackout imposed on January 8, 2026, rights groups and leaked internal sources estimate the death toll could range from hundreds to several thousand in just the last few weeks.
Yeah, so you see everything leading up to. Alright, you see everything leading up to, and we know Babylon, hey, they're gonna make the strike and they're gonna go in and be the heroes. Because people calling for a regime change. It is Trump say, despite the deletings, he continue to protest. You know, well, hey, hopefully this lesson was edifying. All praises there, however, Hashem Yeshua, Hashem Kakutash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Until the next Shalom.